We're pleased to have with us today the folks from Growth Dynamics, Sarah and Charlie. And what's Growth Dynamics is really a company that's designed to help salespeople sell and be much more effective at the selling process. So in effect, RepFabric, we're really good at helping you guys get in the seats, helping you track your sales and kind of organizing you hopefully without too much effort. And what Charlie and Sarah are excellent at is really helping you get to answers of whether or not you're going to engage customers in deals and opportunities. So a couple of real pushes for them is to make you guys as efficient as possible, also effective as salespeople, and then lastly, really drive your discussions so that they go from just being great discussions to great discussions that end in answers for whether or not you're going to do business with that customer. So, with that, Charlie and Sarah work primarily with rep groups, and they've been a great friend to RepFabric. And we're really excited to have them today because I think you're going to see something from webinars that you haven't seen from us before. And not to ratchet up the pressure on Charlie too much, but he's a very dynamic speaker, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, Charlie, with that, go ahead.
Wow, that certainly ratcheted down. So, anyway, thank you all. I know everybody's busy out there, and I suppose some of you are pretty tired of the remote learning model, but here we are again. So we'll try to create as much value as we can with the hour that we have carved out of your day. Sarah's going to run the PowerPoint to keep us moving, so if you hear me call her name out, if there's any other Sarahs, I apologize for the confusion. This is a program that I found myself responding to a lot of our clients with the struggle of getting their salespeople refocused and re-energized when the coronavirus impact started to really take over the way we all went to business. There are a ton of us out there that are feeling a lot more comfortable in the face-to-face role of the days gone by before March 16th. And there are some of us that are so comfortable with that we're really not realizing how important it is to make the transition from the days before to the days after the shutdown. So this is my my version of not being a victim, how to make yourself more valuable in the marketplace today, even though the conditions have changed. And the topic, the title of the program is, it's not a conditions problem, it's an equipment challenge. So I want to walk you through a few things today to see if we can help you make the transition, get refocused on the things you've got to be doing to be the most efficient, effective, and in a way the most lethal sales performer, or have the most lethal sales agency that you can put out there on the street. So without any further ado, Sarah, if you'll take us to the first slide. So what are we talking about? And this is pretty simple in a concept, but it's not necessarily real simple to address. But too often we get overwhelmed when we face conditions that seem too challenging or unlike anything we've ever seen before. And frankly, this pandemic situation, I'm not that far away from my 65th birthday. I've been in sales basically since I was 15 years old. This is a first. I've never seen anything shut down basically a nation of business people the way this pandemic stopped all of us in our tracks. So this is what we're trying to do. It can be overwhelming. And what I find that is really challenging for people is they tend to lose focus on the things that they can control and get sidetracked and get too drawn to the things that you cannot control. And I've got a list of 5 things here that are commonly excuse anchors for a lot of people in sales. The weather. I couldn't go out and make the calls because of the weather. Well, you know what? None of us are magic enough to control the weather. So, but I hear a lot of weather related, the weather stopped business, the weather stopped this, we couldn't get here, we couldn't get there because of the weather. The second one that I hear is people losing track of is they get too focused on the competition or what others are doing. Well, we cannot control what our competitors have decided is their best way to go to market. If they want to go low and deep on pricing and eliminate margin, that's their business, but we can't let it control ours. We can't control, there's nobody that's got a sales training program that's powerful enough to make your customers buy. And that's one of the things that we're always dealing with our client base. Hey, Charlie, email comes in. I've been chasing these guys for 5 weeks. How do I make them buy? I haven't heard back from them. How do I make them call me back? Well, we can't control what those people do. And when you lose effort and energy trying to make someone do something when you have no control of them, it's really just a waste of time, and it distracts you from doing the work you should be focused on. There's supply chain issues. There's a shortage of truckers. There's a shortage of stuff coming out of the ports on either coast where we can't get stuff into the marketplace. We can't replenish inventories for our customers. That's just a reality. I can't make a manufacturer in China produce product any quicker. I can't make the transportation or the border and security people, I can't make them unload or license ships to be unloaded any quicker than they can. I can't make the highways any safer or any more consistent. I can't make the ports of entry in the north or in the south. We've got no control over those things. So we've got to learn how to sell, understanding that those conditions are always going to be an impact that we just have to deal with. And then there's the economy. We went through this 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 2007, 2008. We did have the rug pulled out from under us all then as well. And I hope everybody learned the economy is what the economy is. It's not different for me than it is for anybody else, nor is it different from you than it is for your competitors. The economy just tells us how we've got to play the game a little bit differently. So if you've got people who are saying nobody's there, nobody's buying, maybe not as many people are buying, but there's still business to be had. And the real sales professionals are the people that don't let that stop them from doing what they're going to do. And then there it is, number 5, the coronavirus. I'm here in PA. We still have a lot of government restriction. There's still a lot of things that are shut down. I know some of you that are out in the Midwest or down in Texas, Florida, Georgia, don't have as many restrictions now, but we're all still impacted by it. And as much of all of the things on that list that I wish I could control, the coronavirus is number 1, but none of us have the power. Anthony Fauci and the scarf lady and all those people, as much as they want to, they can't. So what's beyond our control? The weather, wet, cold, sunny, windy, snow on the ground, drought, whatever it is, it is. We just got to keep moving. Competition, pricing and programs, pre-existing relationships, whether your competitors tell the whole truth or the sales truth, or whether they flat out lie and just say me too to your best competitive advantage. Can't control it. We've just got to be better than it. Logistics. Product is what product is. Availability is what availability is. Those of you that have sold plumbing products, bathtubs were a real struggle for a while. PEX products were a real struggle for a while. Those of you that were selling PPE, you couldn't get it fast enough, but you could have sold it as fast as you got it. It's out of your control. We've just got to deal with it. The economy. Look, we've all got to realize the pie has gotten smaller. It's gotten smaller for just about everybody. What you need to do is to figure out how do you just get a bigger piece of a smaller pie. That you can control, but the size of the pie, not under your control. And again, the coronavirus, look, we're going to be dealing with this for a while. I wish it weren't true, but it is what it is. So let's just go to work. All right, next, Sarah. So today, I want you to consider these 3 situations. And as you look at the list that's on the screen, they're real generic. There's nothing fancy or like how did he even come up with that idea? Well, just going out for a bike ride, that's pretty simple. If you've got a bike, you get it out of the garage, you put air in the tires, and off you go. All right? Most of us can come up with the simple equipment necessary to just go out and take a casual bike ride. If you like to fish, you buy a fishing rod, you get a bucket of bait, you go find a stream or a pond, or you stand in the surf, throw it out there and see if you can catch some fish. Seems pretty simple. Seems like we should be able to do it as long as you're not supposed to be at work. Go out and catch all the fish you'd like to catch. And then here's one that's even kind of a little simpler yet. Just go out for a nice hike. Now, one of the things that I've done for the last 8 to 12 weeks is I have made a commitment to get out and hike as much as I can. The Philadelphia area is beautiful, rolling hills, great countryside, a lot of open land. But I just want to go out and stretch my legs, get some energy. Those are 3 things that on the face of what you see on the screen, pretty much everybody has the condition. The conditions are there, pretty simple. And having the right equipment doesn't require a big investment. But what happens if we change things just a little bit? All right? So this is what happens. Here's that bike ride. And if you look at the picture on the left, this is a guy in Manhattan. He's on a fixie. He's wearing a suit. He's wearing dress shoes. He's got his shoulder bag over his shoulder. Pretty calm. Not a lot of equipment required to just go for a bike ride. But when we put the conditions on the right-hand side, you see something dramatically different that still qualifies as going out for a bike ride. But we're in extreme conditions, extreme elevation, extreme weather, extreme traction required on the bicycle. So we didn't have a problem with the condition as long as we have the right equipment to our disposal and we know how to use it. Bike ride on the left, go out and do it. Don't get too sweaty that you become an olfactory distress to your customers. Bike ride on the right, a lot more preparation, a lot more investment, a lot more required to succeed and get home safely. Same thing, different conditions, different equipment. All right? Next one. Now, these are real extreme. Going out to catch some fish. Well, if you want to go out and catch trophy fish, you've got to be with the right equipment, which is what we have on the left. Guy's got a dinghy on the front end of that boat out on the foredeck. He's got outriggers with some probably big badass hooks out there. He'll bring in anything. He'll go deep to out this way. We talk about going out to the canyon off the coast of New Jersey, going 45 miles off the coast, can survive there all day. There probably isn't a fish too big for this guy on the left. But here on the right, it's kind of an absurd example, and I realize that. But we've got Sam and Sarah Suburbanite face to face with the shark from Jaws. Now, this is not the right equipment to deal with these conditions. These people just went from fishing to being the bait. Without the right equipment, without the right preparation, without the right forethought, the outcome's going to change dramatically. This is not an analogy of sales success on the right. On the left, we're going to go whale hunting, basically. We're going to go after those accounts that can make or break your quarter, and in some cases, make or break your year. So again, let's go out and catch some fish. 2 different conditions, much different requirements as far as equipment goes. And then lastly, my third example, let's just go out for a hike. Well, the family on the left, look, it's mom and dad and their kids. And they've got a backpack with some peanut butter and jelly, and probably if I packed it, there'd be 5 or 6 packs of Swedish fish in there, a couple jugs of water. They picked up some hiking sticks along the ground. Somebody's got sneakers on. It looks like somebody's got loafers. Let's just go out and kill a couple of hours and get a little exercise. Going out for a nice hike around the neighborhood. Well, then we've got the guy on the right. Fundamentally, he's got his entire existence on his back. He's equipped for warm weather, cold weather, 15 miles or 15 days worth of hiking. He's got everything he could need to deal with the toughest thing that he could encounter. Both pictures show you somebody going out for a hike, but it's not the same thing. The conditions on the left, hire anybody, go sell, high transaction, price-driven business, no real competition, no worries about who you run into, what you're going to encounter. Or you come up with someone who says, you know what, I've got a real challenge. I think I'll go end to end on the Appalachian Trail. I'll go from Maine to Georgia. I'm going to do it all self-sufficiently. I don't need a hike manager to make sure I succeed. I've got what it takes to make it all the way through, as far as commitment, as far as equipment, as far as the right attitude and the willingness to see myself through from start to finish. Once again, easy sales, much more difficult sales. The world changes and requires you to be equipped significantly differently depending on the conditions that you're operating in. This is selling as it is today. 4 months ago, we were out there on a hike. No problem, peanut butter and jelly, you know, maybe a hammock to hang in the trees. Today, you got to be all prepared to stick it out and make the best out of a tough situation. All right? So what are some of the differences? So we had differences in weather. Hey, I want to make this hike. Please, no snow, no rain, no sun, no drought. We've just got to put up with it. All right? We've got the right logistics. I'm going to get dropped off. I'm going to get picked up. I'm going to know where the food is. I'm going to know how to get it. All right? Competitors. Well, it's just me against the elements. I can't change the elements. I'm just going to, there may be some other people on the trail. I may want to hike faster than they do. I may want to set my personal record for how long I cover 100 miles. There are a lot of different things there. The cost of it. Well, if you're going to ride a bike in January in the mountains, that's a different investment. The economy of that requires you to spend probably 3 to 4 times what you would for a regular bike to just get around town. You've got to be prepared to pay the price for the right equipment. All right? The coronavirus. You got to get out and away from it. You got to be safe. You got to be smart. You got to be brave. You got to understand risk versus reward. You got to understand legalities. You got to understand the nature of human beings and how you deal with it. And they're all different. I've run into a couple very interesting situations relative to these differences. I do a lot of work with the AMAR group, those of you that are part of AMAR, plumbing, heating, in that world. And some of the big wholesalers down south, you're not allowed on their property, but you can take their people to lunch. I find that to be a very interesting change of expectations. There's a lot of reasons why. Some of it's the legality of it and the liability and exposure. But a lot of it makes you wonder, how valuable do they think those salespeople are when they limit that opportunity as much as they have? So there are a lot of things that are changing in the marketplace that either you as a salesperson have to be prepared to manage, or you as a sales manager, whether you're the owner or just the sales manager, the requirements of your job have changed as well. Selling from home, selling remotely, selling with limited access, even if the markets have opened up, it has created enormous requirements for a different way to equip your salespeople. So we've got to be aware of all these differences and how they change what was second nature to most of us up until the middle of March. Sarah? So Here are the things that we think you've got to invest in right now, equipment-wise. So selling during a pandemic or a lockdown with restrictions, the first piece of equipment that I coach all my people, whether it's the companies from the top down or the salespeople on the street, is to have the right attitude. If you wake up every day and say, I can't sell like this, you're not going to sell like that. If you look at it as just a new set of challenges instead of a problem, you can be creative in the way you approach business. But if your attitude is, I'm dead before I go out the door, save your company the trouble and tell them you can't go out the door any longer. All right? If you can do it, you will do it. So prove that you can or can't do it by actually making the calls. Don't just decide because other people have said it sucks that it sucks for you too. Prove it. But prove it with the best intent and the best support. And the next one I have on the list is an abundance mentality. There are very few products that I think any of you sell that own so much of the market share that you can't actually grow your business. When you stop thinking about when you start to think about the opportunities that are there as opposed to the business that you haven't gotten, you change yourself from a scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality. Salespeople with an abundance mentality make money. Salespeople with a scarcity mentality make managers crazy. So you've got to have the attitude as the first piece of equipment you've got to fine tune. Second is the commitment. I will do whatever it takes. It's not whether or not I like to do it. It's not whether or not I used to do it. It's not whether or not it's what my job was in February. It's whatever it takes. Can you learn to use social media? Can you learn to use remote training and virtual access and do a program like we're doing tonight or today? Can you understand that the clock doesn't have as much control of your business access as it once did? And one of the things that we need people to be aware of, getting up and getting started is critical. There's actually a measurement that people take, particularly with inside sales forces. How long does it take someone on your team to make their first dial? So they measure this statistic called TTD, time to dial. Some people sit down and go to work. Other people avoid sitting down. Other people are addicted to SportsCenter's second rerun. You've got to make sure that your people are committed to starting the day as early and in as healthy a mindset as possible for them to give themselves the best chance to succeed. Number 3, behavior. Now, what do we mean by behavior? Behavior is all the activities required to succeed as a professional salesperson, not a peddler, a professional salesperson, a trusted advisor. So that includes prospecting, that includes servicing, that includes the proper follow-up, that includes generating referrals and introductions, which are even more efficient and more effective. But the part that really matters is keeping score. And when John and I talked about this, we started thinking about what is it that our two businesses do? Well, I teach people what it is, how much behavior they need to make or do, execute. I teach people how to make that behavior more efficient, more effective, more decision-based, not just discussion-based. And I give people the tools so their time isn't spent talking to people that are already dead. All right? John lets you count it to make sure you're actually doing it. So when you get an opportunity to have the best trained salespeople with a program like RepFabric that gives you the best opportunity to measure whether or not it's getting done, to go from I think I made enough calls this week to I can prove I made enough calls this week, that's what the type of equipment you need to have in the behavior mindset. Product knowledge. Look, I believe we can overwhelm the marketplace with product knowledge, but you've got to have it. And in today's marketplace where you have restricted access, limited length of contact with people, you better be prepared with the safety net of product knowledge before you pick up a phone or send an email. We don't have the opportunity to, well, let me go look that up. Let me pull it up on my phone. Let me download something. You've got to be more prepared with the information about what you'd like to sell than you've ever been prepared before. And you better be able to make sure you can track what it is you told them so that you don't just repeat yourself over and over again. So that's where call notes and things like that in CRMs, RepFabric, and those products really give you an opportunity to be more information managed than you've ever been. And then lastly, yep, there's the commercial for growth dynamics, tactical training and expertise. We're huge on disqualifying opportunities. In today's marketplace, there are too many people that will steal your time. There's too many people that are interested but have no intention of buying. They're always looking for what's out there. They're just not willing to make a commitment. So we think salespeople need to be told how to go to no, how to stop a pursuit before it becomes a losing proposition. We think people should know how to set the groundwork for the conversations that you want to have in your sales interactions, electronically or face-to-face through this type of media, or when you can actually get in and see a customer. How do you take control of the sales process? And then how do you take it to go from, let's talk about this, to will you actually make a decision, even if it's no? And are we allowed to talk business now, or are you still managing how much interaction we get with your people? These are the most fundamental pieces of equipment that we think sales forces should have in their backpacks every day. Attitude, behavior, and informational power is what we need, all right? So whether it's tactical stuff or product knowledge. Sarah? And then we get to this wild card of working from home. This has been driving people crazy. I doubt a lot of people that are out there wanted to be in inside sales. You're not in inside sales. You just have to be prepared to do some of it from home. You're not even in your own offices. So here's 6 things that we think everybody working from home should be very disciplined about. Make your sales calls in blocks of time. Don't just sit down and say, we're going to make as many calls as we can make. Make appointments with yourself to make dials. Don't just hope that you make enough dials. But learn to pace yourself and get on a roll. Stay with it. Don't let the results stop you. Make your calls, record them, be accountable. All right? Know what you're calling about. There are a couple of our customers have said their customers are telling them, if you don't have a topic, you can't have an appointment. So no, I'm stopping in to see if you need anything. That's peddling. That's the old way. That's not allowed anymore. So you cannot expect your client or your prospect to do unwanted work when they're already understaffed and working harder than they thought they should have been anyway. Know what you're talking about. Be prepared. All right? Check on their people. Are you okay? Deal with the person before you deal with them as a prospect. So if they're not comfortable, if they're stressed, if there's personal problems, that they're overworked, give them a chance to open that door and let you see if you can be at least nurturing and be sympathetic. All right? Ask for permission. How long is this call allowed to go? Don't just start. Hey, I have 15 minutes. Can we get the work done in 15 minutes? Can we get to the topics you wanted to talk about? I've got 20 minutes. Make sure you have a clock, start and stop on all your calls. It makes you look more professional. You've got to manage your call more strategically to hit your start and finish lines. Be a time manager as much as a call manager, all right? Slow it down. I find too many people that have gotten back into selling over the phone have started to sound like telemarketers. Hi, how are you? Let me tell you what you need to buy. It's not a welcome change in the marketplace today. We typically don't pay a lot of respect to telemarketers. Don't let your people turn into marketers. Trust the power of no. I've got an opportunity. I'd like to talk to you about it. I'm just not sure if it's a good opportunity for you. Just because somebody else bought it from you doesn't mean everybody's going to buy it from me. You should be able to get the right people having the right conversations and eliminating the wrong conversations that just increase your cost of sales. These are the things that we've got to keep track of. Always know the next step. So there's 3 questions you should be able to get answered on every call. What does it take to do business? What happens next? And when does it happen? And so, again, I'm going to go back. I'm an older guy. I was not big on technology through the beginning of my career. The more I rely on the electronic capabilities, the data portals that you can access, the products like RepFabric, call notes, here's what I've done, here's what we agreed to do, here's the next step, and here's what it's going to happen, and you can schedule it while you're there. Get your people past this, well, I told them I'd call them back in 2 weeks. That's just extra calls. Set the next appointment before you leave the one you're on, whether it's on the phone, whether it's in an email exchange, or whether you're actually live. Don't rely on follow-up to be efficient and effective. It's typically persistence is the tool of people that can't manage sales success. So be persistent on the call, not after it, and keep notes of what the agreements are. All right? Next. And look, I'm a big believer in the power of triangles, the strength that they give you to keep 3 things equally in balance and to be supportive when forces and other things impact what you're trying to do. So these are the 3 things I think you should be helping your people manage. The activity of being physically fit and physically healthy. This is a time to kind of step into your employees' lives. There's a lot of stress that's going on, a lot of stress for everybody. Are they being physically fit? Encourage your people to get outside, to take some walks, to get out of their houses, to ride a bike, to go do something physically active. Get your people to stop driving around and stopping at McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, or wherever it is they go because it's convenient to drive and eat at the same time. That's probably not a good plan long term. So we think you should be asking your people to manage their physical well-being more now than ever before. Stress, it's growing and it's getting more and more difficult for people to deal with. Mentally, we think you should be asking your people to invest in themselves, to learn the lines that they don't know very well, to learn more about business. You should be selling profitability, not products. And the way you sell profitability is to be a good business partner, not a great product partner. So get your people to tune up their lives mentally on good business practice, good profitability thinking, best practices on the mental side. And then lastly, financially, salespeople should know their numbers. And so again, it's something that we teach people. Where are you according to your goals and your plans for the month, for a quarter, for the year? Are you financially on track? Have you earned the money or the commissions that you thought you were going to earn? And are you up to date on tracking that stuff? And the more people become aware of their own finances and what it requires them to be financially responsible, the better business people and the better business partners they're going to be for the marketplace. Physical, mental, financial, tighten up, make improvements, and make commitments to the activities to give you the power of that stuff. So please, just 1 second. No.
Sorry, guys. At Charlie's house, the neighbors have that came down in a storm, and now the dogs are barking at the chainsaw and the workers across the street.
He's not home. John's not here. Bye.
And they're looking for the kids. I think once quarantine's over, all of the dogs are going to be lonely and everyone goes back to work.
All right. So, good. Next, Sarah. Thank you for your patience. I apologize. And then here's our collection of quick hitters. So number one, the conditions are the conditions. Deal with it. Don't fight with it. You can't change it. Don't burn energy trying to wrestle with things you can't defeat. Number one. Number two, it's not happening to you and you alone. So this is not a time for your people to be victims. It is what it is. It's happening to all your competitors. It's happening to every business that's out there. You've just got to understand you're not the center of the universe. Just go to work and you're going to find there's opportunity. 3, this is why they call it work. It's not second nature to a lot of us right now. We've got to learn to do things differently. We've got to learn. We can't just run a route and stop in and see everybody every 2 weeks, every month. We've got to be way more prepared, and that's work. It's not just they know me, I know them, I can walk in the back door. You've got to get better, and getting better requires effort and energy. Adapt and change or die. Don't be a dinosaur in the business world. I started selling basically at 15, one thing or another, whether it was cutting my neighbor's lawns. I became a roofing contractor. I sold roofing materials. I became a sales consultant. I got involved in a lot of different things that required a lot of different selling, but the world has changed. I used to keep track of everything on paper. Doesn't work anymore. I've got to change. Cell phones. We went from Palm Pilots. We actually had these things called Rolodexes. Some of you have never seen one, but we grew up with them. It's not going to work anymore. That's where you've got to look at CRM. You've got to look at customer relationship management. You've got to talk to people like RepFabric and look for the efficiencies that they give you to operate as a well-oiled machine in the sales business. All right? And this is a core concept that we have at Growth Dynamics. It's time for person versus performance mastery. So really, we want you to all think of yourselves as two people. There's the person, and that's who you are without any role or sales performance judgment. It's just you, and then you've got to manage the performer, the person that gets out there on the stage and does the work that people applaud or boo or pay you for or throw you out if you weren't good. You've really got to learn how to take risk and manage the fact that a yes or a no isn't a personal rejection. It's just a business agreement that wasn't valid for both parties. Plus, you've got to learn how to nurture the person on the other side of the screen or the other side of the telephone. Most people are stroke deprived. Giving them genuine, honest strokes makes them believe that you care about them as a person, not just a commission opportunity. So we think these 5 things are critical for keeping your head in the game when it feels like the game is something you've never seen before. And now, look, we've opened it up. Questions, comments.
Thanks very much, guys. And to the folks on the line, again, thank you. And I hope this has been energizing for you. I think Charlie and Sarah do a great job for inspiring you to be the best salespeople you can be. So once again, I think Charlie, if you're willing at some point for the next round, maybe we run down, a few more months down the road as conditions change, we'll bring you back and
That's good.
you know, kind of see what other techniques and capabilities that everybody needs to bring to bear as they go out and sell. So you guys are the best reps on the planet. Go out, kick some butt, sell something, and thanks for attending the webinar here today.
John, thanks for hosting us. Everybody go on out there, have a great day, and go make some money, all right? Take care.
Right. Take care, guys.